Go. I'm recording.
It's pretty easy to state that this is probably will be the most significant, if one of the most significant, if not the most significant accomplishment for the president in this term.
And Chuck, the follow-up reporting, of course, that we need out of the White House tonight for so many people who are watching this tonight and about to start the work week across this country tomorrow is effects on American life for the sake of security or what have you. That's something we'll have an ongoing conversation about as our coverage goes on tonight. We've learned a bit more about how this was carried out. Jim Miklaszewski at the Pentagon. And Jim, we don't have to wait for the book version of this to say that certain elements of American Special Forces, regardless of what we've been told publicly, have been dedicated to this, have been focused on this for the better part of 10 years.
Absolutely, and it was very interesting, as Chuck just pointed out, and the president told the nation, if not the world, that they first got this tip in August. So, the Special Operations Forces had been attempting to track, and U.S. intelligence services had been putting pressure on the Pakistanis, who the president credited tonight with providing some of the information that led to the initial tip on exactly where Osama Bin Laden had been hiding. And U.S. officials tell us that Special Operations Forces, Navy SEALs, we understand, landed in that compound and in that firefight. It's not clear whether Osama Bin Laden himself picked up a weapon and fired, but we are told that he was shot at least once in the head and his body recovered by those U.S. Special Operations Forces. There were reports earlier this evening from overseas that the helicopter had crashed somewhere in Pakistan, and now we're hearing reports that it may have actually been a Pakistani helicopter that was involved in that operation. U.S. intelligence officials have been telling us for some time, despite the public contentious issues between Pakistan and the U.S., they were getting increasing cooperation from the Pakistanis in terms of hunting down al-Qaeda elements, even some of the renegade Taliban elements that were within Pakistan, because those elements were actually threatening the Pakistani government in Islamabad, and the Pakistanis considered it in their interest to begin that cooperation. U.S. intelligence officials had long said that they believed that there were elements within the Pakistani government, particularly that intelligence agency, who would know where to find Osama Bin Laden. And after tonight, and after hearing from the president, it sounds as if they came forward and provided that critical tip, Brian.
Jim Miklaszewski at the Pentagon, where again the information we've expected, the follow-on reporting is already starting. And I want to take a moment and show you this picture. We showed it briefly, but I want to go back here. This is across the street from the White House in Washington. While something short of VJ Day in this country, as you look at this picture, listen to some numbers. More than 2,600 people died here in New York City when the World Trade Center towers came down. More than 125 people died at the Pentagon. 256 people died on board 4 aircraft. The death toll surpassing that of Pearl Harbor. Tonight, Charles Wolfe, who lost his wife, Catherine, in the Twin Towers, said, quote, "I'm really glad this man's evil is off this earth forever." Tonight, President George W. Bush has given a statement that says justice will come. He says he congratulated the president and U.S. Armed Forces, indicating his great and deep satisfaction with the outcome of this toniite. For those just joining us, Osama Bin Laden has been killed by order of President Obama in Pakistan as a result of a brief firefight. His body was retrieved on the battlefield. The president noted all those who lost loved ones in the 9/11 attacks in addressing the nation.